G'day, Jason the Middle-Aged Gear Junkie here. Recently I purchased one of these. This is the Pastfx Reticon Flanger. These are pretty rare. They can only be made when they can get a hold of a decent supply of Reticon chips. Now the Reticon chip is a bucket brigade chip that was produced in the 70s and was used in the original Electric Mistress and I think Memory Man pedals that Electro Harmonix made. They have a very distinctive sound. So Pastfx are using those to create these, the Reticon Flanger, as part of their Spectrum series. But when they can't make these, they've decided to release the same circuit with a slightly different chip. This, just quite simply, the Flanger. So this is the Spectrum Collection Flanger. The circuitry is the same, except it has a different bucket brigade device. It has the MN3007 chip. Now I believe this is the same chip that is used in the Boss CE2, and Pastfx also use this same chip for their more affordable versions of the CE1 clone that they make. So it's a quality chip. Now the circuitry between these two pedals is identical except for some of the components around the chip which had to be rebiased because of different values. So it's pretty much the same circuit, so how different are they going to be from each other? How much difference is that Reticon chip going to make? Let's find out. Here's my clean sound. I'm running through my Fender Deluxe with my standard Telecaster. So I'm going to start off by getting that classic jet plane flanger sound. But before I do, let's just hear what they both sound like with all knobs at noon. So here's the Reticon. So it's very, very steep troughs in its vibrato. It's quite dramatic. Very pronounced. Flanger, that's similar. It just doesn't seem to be quite as pronounced, I don't think. Okay, so let's get this jet plane sound. So to do that, we need a fair bit of color. So on some flangers, this dial might be called feedback or resonance. In this case, it's called color. And this feeds back part of the signal into itself and gives it that sort of swooshing sound. So we need a fair bit of that. The rate will be how fast we want it. And I'm going to turn the blend all the way up to sort of maximize the effect. Beautiful. Sounds great. Okay, so I'm going to use the same settings on the Reticon. Yeah, they're definitely a bit different, I'd say. Yeah, I think the Pastfx Flanger is probably a little bit smoother. I think that the Reticon, at this point, the depth of the vibrato really makes it more pronounced. Now, one of the reasons I think that a lot of people don't like flanger is that it tends to overtake your sound. But one of the great things about these modified ones is they have a blend control, so we can wind back the effect to make it less prominent. So I'm going to wind back this tone to about halfway on the blend control. And that's quite a nice modulation sound. Yeah, I think the Reticon there has come into its own a little bit more because it's not so pronounced in your face. With the blend all the way up, I preferred the Spectrum Series Flanger, but I think with blend back off, I really like the Reticon because that extra vibrato just gives it a bit more dimension. One of my favourite uses for flanger is to pair it with a delay, so I'm going to use an Ibanez 9 series delay with both flangers. I'm going to use this same setting again, but this time with a bit of drive. So I've chosen to use the Pastfx Revolution Overdrive. This is from the same series, the Spectrum collection, and it's a bit of a crime that I don't play this enough because this is a really good drive pedal. This is the Revolution. Yeah, killer. All right. A few months back, I did a review of the Pastfx Electric Mistress Flanger, and in that video I explained how you can turn your flanger into a chorus pedal. And the way to do that is to turn the color all the way down, because a chorus pedal doesn't feed back into itself like a flanger does. So if you remove that, it should sound like a chorus. And that is an excellent chorus sound just from this flanger. I'll try that with the Pastfx Flanger. So as you can see, I've turned the range knob up to halfway. I've turned the blend knob up to about 3/4, and the color all the way down. That also sounds very nice. I actually prefer the Reticon for this because of that extra steep vibrato. It just has more dimension. If you were using that as your chorus sound, you wouldn't lose out one bit. That sounds great. So last of all, I'm going to go for a bit of a rotary speaker. And now for this, I'm going to have to turn the rate up to get that sort of Doppler effect sort of sound. I've also turned the blend all the way back up again. That's definitely got a rotary type quality to it. So let's see that with the Reticon. So I definitely think that the Pastfx Flanger there is better suited to this sort of sound than the Reticon, because that vibrato is now sort of really overtaking everything. Yeah, very interesting. Late last year, Verley from Pastfx lent me the Buffalo Fx Reticon Flanger. Now, this was supposed to be one of 100 to be made, but only 15 were actually built. The one that I played was serial number 13, so very, very rare pedal. Now, the Buffalo Fx pedals were all designed around the tone of Dave Gilmour. So they were vintage style pedals that were modified for the modern player to try and get Dave Gilmour-ish sounds. Now, Pastfx have been recreating that whole line of pedals, which are no longer made, in their Spectrum collection. So to my ear, these two pedals were a bit different. The Reticon Flanger here, I think, has deeper vibrato, so it's got more of that sort of detuned sort of sound, whereas I think that the Flanger here was a little bit more mild in that regard. And so with different settings, I think these sort of had different sweet spots. So I think with faster rates, I actually found this to be much more usable than the Reticon. The Reticon sounded great for, I actually really liked it using it as a chorus pedal, so turning the color all the way down. I thought it was a fantastic chorus because it's got that really detuned sound, but it also did the swooshing thing really, really well. I was able to dial in, good mild sounds using both of these. So they are very similar, but there are a few differences. This one, the Reticon, is not always going to be available because the chips aren't always available. So when they're not available, these will be available, and I think you're not losing out too much with these. In fact, in some cases, I think this is as good, if not better. Big thanks to Verley for sending me out this Spectrum Series Flanger. I put my money where my mouth is. I actually bought this one, so this, yeah, absolutely terrific. They're very similar, but there are some slight differences. And if you want to find out any more, or you want to purchase one of these, you can go to the Pastfx website. I've put a link in the description to both of these pedals. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. You can join the Middle-Aged Gear Junkie Facebook page by clicking on the link in the description below. I've also left links to the Middle-Aged Gear Junkie store where you can buy some merchandise. So thank you very much for those people who have been supporting me. I really appreciate it. You have a wonderful day. See you later.